Greetings, everybody. Welcome to an impossibly unique video for G4G. We've had gaming videos, we've had tech videos on the Tim's Tech Corner side, we've had talkie videos which aren't really about a game, but they're about an event or situation in the gaming world. And this video is unique in that I have to say that the channel's mascot has unfortunately passed away. A lot of people who are fans of the channel or the streams, dating back to the MAA streams of 2015-16 to the Redux streams of 2020, videos that I've done over the years, Arthas has figured semi-prominently in the streams and the videos whenever I had the camera on. He was an incredibly adorable cat, born cross-eyed to his dad Koala, who was not cross-eyed. An impossibly cute face that pretty much would win everybody over. A little bit of sight problems because of the cross-eyedness. He would take corners a little too quickly and sometimes bounce off of things a tiny bit. But I've had him since 2013. He came into my life just before starting a job that was one of the worst jobs I've ever had in my life. It absolutely was a soul-crushing asylum in the pit of hell to be at that job, and he was such a stress sponge in those years. To come home at the end of work and to be greeted by him on the stairs right behind the front door, to be excited for dinner, to be happy that I was home, to visiting him at lunch sometimes because my job wasn't too far. He absorbed so much stress from me in those times. Just was this never-ending black hole that would suck away all the pain of dealing with that job. I don't talk about this particularly often on the channel, but starting in 2008, I became afflicted with a condition called cluster headaches that occurs usually about once a year for about 30 days. And I go through a period of dealing with these cluster headaches when I sleep that are so intense they wake me up, and can be intense enough to the point that it would drive me to the floor, crawling on the floor, hoping somebody would take my head off. And a lot of times Arthas would be around, and I'd crawl over to him and sit with him for a while, and he was just this never-ending chamois of stress soaking. And then I would be out of that job in 2015, and that's when I started the MAA streams, 2015, and didn't wind up getting a job until early 2017 through no fault of my own. That was another stressful period to wonder why I would go on so many interviews and so many secondary and even tertiary interviews with companies, and they weren't rejecting me, but they weren't accepting me. There was just no contact, and I was doing what I was supposed to do. And again, he just sponged all that stress. And I'd been with my girlfriend since 2010, but we were still long distance at that point, and that was scary to think that being together was in jeopardy until the job came in. Arthas was there. and got leaned on and had to soak up that stress too. And in August of this year, we adopted a kitten from the SPCA. We thought, under the current world circumstances, it would be a good time to enjoy another cat, and we had the time dedicated to it due to the telecommuting, and not, particularly going out that much. So we thought maybe it would be a shock for Arthas to have us 24/7 for so long, but then when we would go back to being in the office, he, might get a little people sick. So we thought maybe he would use a companion that was established before we would go back to work. And he didn't take to the kitten particularly well. Her energy was probably too much for him. He was such a calm and chill and not vocal cat. We assumed he'd be able to handle the kitten just because he's so relaxed, but the dark side of a chill and relaxed person is maybe they don't want to handle crazy things. They're just chill and relaxed within their own situation, and she'd fuck with him a little bit, but he's a lover, not a fighter, and he would hiss or meow and disengage. He would never fight back. So she would never get put in her place, and she would continue. And he would sometimes even get upset with us if we picked him up to remove him from the situation. He would groan at us. And that's why in early September I was like, I really think I need to get him in front of the vet and make sure he doesn't have underlying physical conditions that would make him not want to deal with the kitten, and that maybe it would be all mental, and an anti-anxiety medication might help him. Kitty Prozac, And he went into the vet in about the middle of September, and I dropped him off because of the itis, the pandemic, and I went home. I'm around the corner, and I got a call that was like somebody took a bowling ball to my gut. I found out that he had a heart murmur, and I was dealing potentially with congestive heart issues or maybe asthma. He saw the vet in February for his annual and was fine. He was a little overweight at 13 pounds. We wanted him below 13, low 12s, upper 11s, but there was no reason to think he would ever have this issue. Unfortunately, the deep inbreeding that he had, where Koala is the son of a particular cat. We'll call her Cat A. I don't know Cat A's name, but Cat A had a litter. Koala was part of that litter. Koala, at 1 year old, went and sired a litter with his own mother, Cat A. So Arthas is born of that inbreeding relationship, and it may have inbred the cross eyes into him, and potentially gave him no shot at avoiding heart disease genes if it was running in his family. So there I was being told he had a heart murmur that had never been detected before ever, and was dealing with heart disease or maybe asthma. He came home to start on some meds, and we were told to watch him to see if he had rough breathing that night because of being on a little bit of a steroid for potential asthma. But if he had a bad heart, the steroids would act poorly on the heart. He did get that breathing. We took him to a night hospital. They said, yeah, he's okay. So he came home. That weekend, it happened again. But this time, his back legs sort of fishtailed a little bit. And he kind of just stopped and peed where he was. So, off to the night vet again. Now, he had a cardiologist appointment in early October, but because of his condition, he jumped the queue and saw a cardiologist that Monday. And she confirmed it. Level 5 heart murmur and congestive heart disease. So he was now on 4 pills. And thus began the roller coaster. We knew he could have 6 months, a year, maybe 18 months tops. And we knew a clock was over his head, unfortunately. And things were doing okay, but the roller coaster was getting him to take pills was a problem. Because all of a sudden, the Vetmedin, which was a chewable, or Pimobendin, he stopped chewing them like a treat, which is what they were designed to do. And we were trying to give him 3 other pills. We were trying to give him the Vetmedin. Things worked for a little while, but then they didn't work. And we were doing the bigger pill session at night. There was a 2-pill session and a 4-pill session. We were 2-pilling at dinner, and we were 4-pilling in the middle of the night. That was a mistake. We learned from that, but later. So it was a struggle, and then we found pill pockets, and pill pockets worked great for a little while, and then they didn't. And then paste, bacon paste, worked for a little while, and then it didn't. Some human food like cheese, which this cat always loved, cottage cheese, worked, and then it didn't. What we didn't really understand what was happening was that the taste of the Vetmedin would then get associated to the thing we were hiding it in, and he would lose the taste. He would draw an association. I know it because I did it as a kid, being sick one Christmas and thinking the food that I ate for dinner was what got me sick. I had the flu, I had the cold, I was going to get sick anyway, but I wrote that food out of my repertoire because I thought it made me ill. That is kind of what was happening with him. So he had lost his appetite so bad at one point. We took him to the vet again, the middle of the night. The night pill session is what triggered it. And they were like, well, we think he's nauseous. He said he was licking his lips, he hasn't drank water, he hasn't eaten his food. He's probably nauseous. So they gave him a nausea injection, and he was fine. I was like, oh, he's eating, you can take him home, he's good. And things were good for a while. And we thought maybe he was getting nauseous again, so we gave him a pill, and it worked. And things were good again for a while. And then it cropped up again. So we gave him the anti-nausea pill, and this time it didn't work. And we still couldn't really get him to eat and take his pills. So I took him to the night vet, and I said, we're really struggling with the pills here. We can't pill him the way we see on YouTube and everything like that. It just, he like chokes on it. We don't do a good job with it. You know, we need help. So they pilled him, and they gave me some cream to put up at the tip of his ear. It's called the ear pinnas. Mirazapine. And we were able to increase his appetite during the times of the day when he was supposed to get his pills, so that he would just eat the damn food that his pills were involved with. And that worked great for a while. And we would develop this routine of, if we couldn't get him to take the pills when we were giving it to him, mostly the vetmedin at this point. We would powder the vetmedin, put it in his food, and put him in the cat room or the guest bedroom with the food, with the stuff on his ear, quarantine him from the kitten. And eventually his hunger would take over, and he would eat the food, whether or not the vetmedin was in there. So we had a pretty good routine, but it was still stressful when we had to go and use that emergency plan. But that last overnight visit, or that last night visit, was Halloween, and he spent November doing really, really well for his condition. Things that Arthas was known for doing, just part of his personality, started to come back. He would jump on the bed in the middle of our sleep and make contact with us both, and we'd wake up and he'd be wedged in between us. He was jumping on bathroom counters again to get sink water. We could get him to talk a little bit when it was time for dinner, which is one of the only times we'd ever talk. We'd say, "Food, dinner, you hungry?" And he'd go, we'd get a little meow out of him. We knew he would never be fixed, but it was so good to see him bring back chunks of his personality that had just gone missing for a month or two. And then the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, late at night, didn't seem like he was that hungry after we gave him the amount of food to give him his pills. We switched the majority of pills to occur at dinner so we weaponized his hunger against him, basically. And we also knew that if pilling him at dinner was a problem, we could probably still catch the vet when they were open rather than constantly having to go to a night hospital. So that wasn't particularly good. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving came around. I woke up. I said to my parents at the coast, I'm not going to make it for Thanksgiving. Arthas is not doing particularly well. I don't think it'd be good. The trip is only about 2 hours. I don't want to pull him out of here and bring him there just in case. And he rebounded a bit Friday after Thanksgiving. But then late Saturday night, we were eating dinner, and my girlfriend looks at him and says, "I don't think he's breathing well." And sure enough, the breathing speed was up, but the breathing effort, that's his dad, Koala, and that's him. The breathing effort didn't look good. Off to the night vet. We gave him some chances to get out of it. We monitored him for a couple hours, and this is, God, I love this picture of him. He just he wasn't coming out of it. So we went in, and I said, "Yep, he's in an event right now. We're gonna try and calm him down to the point so we can take X-rays. We're gonna do his diuretic. We're gonna do his vetmedin in an IV, and eventually they got him, and an oxygen cage. They eventually got him to the point where he was calm enough, so they X-rayed him. Well, they said there wasn't anything there, and that's probably, unfortunately, they shoot themselves in the foot as the setup for this test. If the cat is in distress, they have to get the cat out of distress to X-ray them, otherwise they could kill them. And that process removes the very thing that they're looking for. So they said, well, he's been here about a day. He can stay overnight, or he could go home, or he could stay overnight and we pull the meds. I said, let's keep him there, professionally monitored, but let's pull the meds and make sure he's okay. But at least if he reverts back to another event, he's right there. So he stayed overnight without medication being pushed, without oxygen, because he was off of it at that point. And I was like, yeah, okay. He did fine. Just like he did about a month prior when he saw the cardiologist. So I brought him home and I considered Monday a wash because I got him back at like 1 and I didn't really care to push his food or his pills and everything. But starting Tuesday, we jumped on the bandwagon again, and now we had a third pill session. We struggled with it. We dealt with it as best we could. We did get him there with his pills. But Tuesday night after dinner, he went back to kind of breathing heavy. We catch it. We give him another half of his diuretic, and he comes out of it. And he even seems to, again, get some of his personality back. He did some things Tuesday night that were just typical Arthas before he got sick. Then most of Wednesday was okay until the night when it seemed like he might be breathing heavy again. At about 2 hours before his morning pill session, I was going to bed, and I checked on him, and it didn't look that great. I said, well, I can't take you to the vet now, but you're going to get your pills in just a couple hours. Hold on and we'll see. And he did, and I gave him the pills. Did definitely take the right pills in the right amount. And about an hour afterwards, I asked my girlfriend to take a look at him because I was telecommuting upstairs. She was downstairs with him. And she did, and the breathing was still heavy, so I took a video of it and gave it to my vet. And we rushed him in there for a visit. And the conversation that I thought I was going to have in October happened. And it was the conversation about the quality of life. And that he was having an event so close to having an event from the weekend. He was on more meds than he was before the last event. He shouldn't, by all accounts, have had another breathing event like he did about 24 hours ago. So we knew we could push furosemide as diuretic again and probably get him out of it, but this time the fluid was definitely there. She heard it for the first time really strongly. She knew it was there. Said, we could get rid of it, but he'll just probably develop it again pretty quickly. So we made the decision to let him go over the Rainbow Bridge and have his injections and proceed to a better place where he doesn't have to deal with this. In October, when we had the issues with the food and the pills, and we went for that night visit, this scene here from Lord of the Rings really played out in my head, because it's just like, if this is love, take it from me, and why does it hurt so much? And Lee Pace, who plays Ronan and plays the High Elf there, and was in *Halt and Catch Fire*, so it's because it was real. And thinking of that scene in that movie killed me in October. It really hurt, because I thought that's what I was facing. And he recovered and rebounded really well for a while. And now I still fully appreciate that sequence in Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings Battle of Five Armies. And it so expresses my relationship with Arthas, and the outpouring of people on my Facebook who've known him for years vicariously through me, guildmates that have known him, people who've met him. The outpouring has been tremendous. He wasn't a major factor in every stream or video I did, but he showed up frequently enough that people know him and often requested to see him in a future video or future stream. My Redux stream viewers have known for several months that he was dealing with this, and in turn his humans were dealing with it. I'm very upset he didn't make it to his 8th birthday or this Christmas. I cannot begin to describe the impact he had on my life and the lives of the people around me that knew him, like my girlfriend and my parents and guild mates, people who go to the streams and the videos, people that I'm friends with on Facebook that see his incessant pictures. This is our kitten Albedo, and this is actually not Albedo, but a boy kitten that looks so much like her. It hurts because it was real. I couldn't make that decision today to have him. He already had another one of these from the weekend on his back leg now, but I couldn't. This is a shame because this is November 23rd. This is called the Raid Crate. This is where I liked him to be when I did my World of Warcraft raiding, so that he wasn't on my keyboard, but he was here and petable, and he hadn't been on the Raid Crate in so long. I mean, even before he was sick, and to see him go back there again like that was, you know, just amazing. Here he is as a kitten. This was one of the first days that I had him. You can see how much he's grown since me having him. He truly was an impactful cat. Never did anything to anybody. So low-key, so quiet, so funny. How he just gave you the ability to laugh at something that he would do, even if it was a matter of him just being cross-eyed and derpy and take a corner too quick and hit the corner. Or miss something that was right in front of his face until you drew his attention to it. He's like, oh, okay, yeah. Just a winner of a cat. Just an absolute pleasure to have shared 7 years and change with him. The world is a lot lesser of a place for not having him in it, especially taking him over the bridge at such a young age. I would tell him constantly I needed him to be an old age cat, a middle teens, at least early teens cat. And he doesn't even make it to his 8th birthday. But it's a very weird phenomenon where I know I've only had him 7 years and change, but I feel like I've had him way longer, but at the same time I feel like it wasn't long enough. And, you know, to Arthas's fans from the stream and the videos, you know, I'm sorry to report that unfortunately we won't be seeing any more of him. I do plan to adopt again pretty quickly to kind of cover the gap. Also to give Albedo a friend of her own age who she might be able to get along with and play with and share energy with. Unlike the lump that was Arthas. And he probably couldn't handle her because he was sick and we just didn't know it at that point. Even though he didn't seem sick in August, he may have not been able to take those adrenaline moments of dealing with her and, fight back in a way. Uh, we didn't know. We just really didn't know. He was cleared of everything in February, and it seemed so sudden for him to be this sick. So please take a moment to think about Arthas if you've seen him on my streams or in the videos, and wish him well. Know that myself and my girlfriend will be okay. But as Toriel says, it hurts so much. But as Lee Pace also says, it's because it was real. And yeah. So I just want to thank you guys for sharing this extremely depressing video with me. And we'll see what the future brings on a new channel mascot and potentially a new cat to get used to. So this is one very sad Napalm Dawn signing off today.